Hey everyone, Lee here. News story I noticed the other day about the e-petitions have been published to the government website. This is a whole big thing about the government saying that if a petition gets 100,000 signatures and it's sent to Parliament, and it's sent to the government website, then it gets debated in Parliament. And what the BBC have chose to focus in this news story is that a lot of these e-petitions have called for the reintroduction of the death penalty, or for MPs to at least debate that. Now, for me, that's not the news story. That isn't, you know, that isn't to me the news story here. I've noticed whilst reading this news story a sentence which has been glossed over. No one's really mentioned this. I'll read it to you. Any petition signed by more than 100,000 UK citizens goes to the cross-party Commons Backbench Business Committee, which will decide whether it's worthy of debate. Now, what that sounds to me is as a kind of a middleman, if you will, metaphorical middleman, as in it goes from the public to backbench committee to Parliament. Not public to Parliament, not public post an e-petition on the government website, it gets debated in Parliament. No. That's what the government want you to think they're doing. And no one's picked up this. None, the BBC and no other news organisation, no newspapers have actually picked up on this. These e-petitions do not give us any power. They don't. A dozen MPs decide whether issues are worthy of debate. So you can get 100,000 signatures, but if the cross-party backbench business committee decides that they don't think it's worthy of debate, 12 MPs out of 650 decide whether these e-petitions are worthy of debate. Now, the government, had this whole big thing, 100,000 people, and it's one of very few things that I agree with the government about. I support it because, petitions that 100,000 members of the public signed will get debated, in Parliament. I thought that's a great idea. That actually, it shows you're listening to people. But this government is not. It likes to pretend it's listening to people. And this is the whole thing. They don't listen to us. I mean, 500,000 people marched against the cuts. For me, that's as strong as 100,000 people signing an e-petition. You can debate on legalities. That's not technically an e-petition, but it's still 500,000 people strongly against the cuts and demand an alternative. That doesn't get debated. No, we've got to stick our calls. The markets like what we're doing. The IMF, the OECD like what we're doing, so we have to stick to it. We can't change out, even though the economy shrink, the rate of growth of the economy is shrinking. No, we can't debate this. We can't debate it at all. So they don't listen to us. This is my point. They're not listening to us. And these e-petitions, it's kind of pretense that they listen to us. And this is why I don't think we live in a proper democracy. Yes, we have a lot more freedom that, other countries don't. Of course we do. I'm not saying, but it's a semi-democracy. Because, the actual voting system we have, how many people voted Tories? Yeah, 10 million people voted Tory. About 37% of the country. 64% of people did not vote Conservatives, and yet they're in government. And yet we've got a Conservative Prime Minister. So we don't live in a proper democracy on the basis of the fact we have a really, a poor voting system. A really, undemocratic voting system. But that's beside the point. My point is that the government like to think that with these e-petitions, it's given us real debate. And this story has kind of slid under the radar, to be honest. With obviously the Eurozone crisis, at the moment the US debt, and those two stories have mainly headlined the news. But these e-petition things, you know, I can't believe BBC News are focusing on the fact that, oh yeah, you know, these e-petitions are calling for bring back death penalty, so that means it'll be debated in Parliament. No, it won't. It goes through a business backbench committee first, which is so undemocratic. 12 MPs. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know. I think it is about a dozen MPs on any committee. I saw the Culture, Media, Sports Select Committee question the Murdochs, and there's about 12 MPs there. But 12 MPs decide on a petition that has 100,000 signatures. How is that democratic? So, I mean, I'll post another video if my MP gets back to me. I'm gonna email my MP about this, and I just want to know what people's opinions are on this. If anyone like me is very interested in politics and democracy, then I want you to get back to me on this. Whether, you know, like I said, I don't think the issue is whether, oh, you know, yeah, so many petitions are called back, bring back death penalty. That's not the real issue. The fact is, it might, even if a petition asking for bringing back the death penalty, even if that, you know, even if that gets 100,000 signatures, that might not be passed in Parliament. That might not be debated in Parliament. That goes through a committee first. Why? Why can't it go straight to Parliament? I know I'm against the death penalty, but if enough people sign a petition that wants to, you know, bring back the death penalty, then that calls for a debate on bringing back the death penalty, then I'm in favour of that. That's democracy for you. I may not agree with those views, but this is called a democracy. So, but like I said, these e-petitions, that's my point of this video. It's not any real democracy, and I'd love to know other people's opinion on this, and why the BBC have glossed over the fact that actually not any, you know, not every petition that gets 100,000 signatures will get debated in Parliament. It goes through a committee first. 12 MPs decide that. And the fact that Sir George Young, the Commons leader, said, well, we might change the threshold depending on how many get passed through, how many get onto the Parliament debatory stage. If a lot get through, then we might not have time to debate them all, so we might higher the threshold. So he's trying to one minute they're saying, oh yeah, no, they believe in democracy, any petition, yeah, it gets 100,000 signatures, we'll debate in Parliament. Oh, he says we'll monitor the situation. If too many petitions get 100,000 signatures, we might higher the threshold. Or if not enough petitions get 100,000 signatures, we might lower the threshold. So, you know, they're going to change it. It's not real democracy. This isn't a great thing, you know, because they might change the threshold, and the fact that it goes through a committee stage first before it even goes to Parliament, which, in fact, the government's not, you know, I mean, this government has lied about a lot of things, and it just proves it's lied about these e-petitions giving more power to the people. It hasn't. It gives power to the backbench business committee. So, thank you for watching my video. Like I said, I'm open to any comment and debate on this because I think it's quite interesting. I'm sorry if I've rambled. I know I've probably made the same point quite a few times. Sorry if I've rambled. I've not made my point, but to sum up, my point is that these e-petitions don't give us power because they go to committees first. They go to a committee first. So I just want to see other people's reaction to that. So like I said, thank you for watching, and I'll post another video shortly.